So Mehdi Hasan, the writer for The Intercept, and he's also has a show on Al Jazeera. Still, too, I believe, came out with this article in The Intercept laying out his case of why he thinks Joe Biden would be well advised to nominate Elizabeth Warren as his vice president. So he says, you're going to need an enthused and energetic Democratic base. Warren has charm, people skills, and a common touch. She's progressive? I don't think so. She's the bridge to the left of the party? What the f are you talking about, Mehdi? She did not endorse Bernie Sanders, the person who, you know, ideologically you would think they are closest as being the most left, you know, people who are running for president at the time. When she dropped out, she should have obviously endorsed Bernie Sanders. She didn't because she's a corrupt career politician. Nominating Elizabeth Warren would not be a bridge to the left. It would be basically, you know, a proverbial or metaphorical kick in the nuts to the progressive wing of the Democratic Party. And I don't think nominating Elizabeth Warren is going to energize the Democratic base at all. There was that, was it Roots Action Network or something like that, had a poll out where they were asking, you know, who would you be supportive of Elizabeth Warren as a VP picked? And the support for her had waned considerably because honestly, she's not a progressive. I don't know what the fuck Mehdi's smoking, but it must be really good. And I think this article, did this article come out on 420? Maybe maybe that's the reason. And maybe he was, yeah, it did. Maybe he was on the devil's lettuce that day. Nothing against that, but I mean, you gotta have a few screws loose to honestly think that Elizabeth Warren is some progressive stalwart who would be able to push Joe Biden to the left. It's not the case. She's a career politician. You know, she lied about her support for Medicare for All, totally backtracked, backpedaled on that, stopped campaigning on that, and guess what? As soon as she did that, she started tanking in the polls. She's also, you know, lied, you know, basically for decades, up until recently, about being Native American, having Native American ancestry. To me, she just honestly comes off as a kind of policy wonk who is really out of touch with reality. And I don't think nominating her as a vice president is going to you know, energize the Democratic base. Especially, it's not going to energize the left, the progressive wing of the so-called Democratic Party, because they see through her. They, you know, there's a reason why a lot of people think she is a snake. And again, she was more concerned with people calling her a fucking snake online. Get the fuck over it, Liz. Get the fuck over it. 68,000 people die each year in the United States because they don't have health care. Maybe you should be out there focusing on that, making sure people have health care, and be a little bit less worried about people calling you a snake online, for fuck's sake. Jesus Christ. I mean, I don't know what Mehdi thinks how nominating Elizabeth Warren is going to, you know, unite the progressive base around a Biden-Warren ticket. And again, I mean, what are you smoking, Mehdi? I want some of that. That sounds pretty good. She has charm, people skills, and a common touch. I don't think she has any type of charm or people skills or a common touch. To me, she comes across as a, you know, elitist former professor at Harvard who defended some of these really huge, you know, corporations and some really, you know, shady, you know, lawsuits and stuff that she litigated for them. She lied about her Native American ancestry. She's lied about her kids attending private schools. She totally backtracked on her support for Medicare for All. She completely threw Bernie Sanders under the bus. She could have dropped out before Super Tuesday, throwing her support behind Bernie Sanders, she still would have had a lot of you know, credibility and support from the left. And you know what? If Bernie was the nominee, I bet he would have named her as VP. And now she's, again, totally lost all, in my opinion, and I think a lot of people's opinions, lost any type of credibility with the left or the progressive wing of the Democratic Party. Let's see. It's Warren who is your bridge to the left to the party. She offers the ideological balance she needed. What are you talking about? If Elizabeth Warren is the nominee, I think people on the left, so-called, you know, progressives, would just see it as another one of her maneuverings to continue to try to propel her career further, you know, up the proverbial ladder, if you will, and just see her as a sellout. Because again, one of the reasons she supposedly got into politics was because of Joe Biden's bankruptcy bill and how much she hated that, because she was all about, you know, the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau and holding Wall Street accountable, when Joe Biden used to be known as the senator from MBNA because he would always do the bidding of the credit card companies when he was the senator from Delaware. And then, you know, on the debate stage, she rightfully called out, you know, Michael Bloomberg for all the NDAs he made his former employees sign when they accused him or the, you know, or the Bloomberg, you know, corporation of, you know, inappropriate sexual conduct or harassment at work. She called him out for that. She's not willing to call out Joe Biden for his very credible sexual assault allegation that's been levied against him by the former, his former campaign staffer, Tara Reid. Sanders is too old and too male to be your running mate. So Warren is the next best option. I don't agree with that. Bernie, if you're actually concerned with uniting the progressive wing of the party, Bernie obviously makes the most sense because, I mean, if the whole establishment hadn't totally coalesced around, you know, Joe Biden, Bernie could have potentially been the nominee. He's the most popular senator in the United States, and he's not too old or too male. Realize that Joe Biden and Bernie Sanders are basically the same age, and they're both white. That doesn't make sense. I think, honestly, what a lot of people, or in my opinion, what they should be voting on is the policy platforms of the candidate, not some type of, you know, identity politics to check a box. You know, people supported, you know, Bernie, not because he was an old white man, but because he supported things like Medicare for All, Green New Deal, tuition-free college, living wage, canceling student loan debt, ending the wars, you know, a tax on Wall Street, all of those things. And you know what? If somebody, let's say like Kamala Harris was, you know, a progressive and ran on that platform, she probably would have done a lot better. And, you know, I don't think a lot of people just vote for candidates because they check a box, whether that being a woman or a woman of color or a person of color. Most people, or at least I think they should be voting on the substance, what those candidates support in terms of policy positions. Let's see. So, I mean, Mehdi's totally and completely off base. Once again, same with his, you know, voter shaming and saying if you don't vote for Biden, or if you vote for a third party, it's a vote for Trump, and, you know, all of that nonsense. So, just another horrible take from Mehdi Hasan saying that Biden would be well advised to pick Elizabeth Warren as his running mate. So kind of interesting. Again, maybe Mehdi Hasan was smoking the devil's lettuce that day because it was the high holiday, 420 after all. Those are my thoughts. I would love to hear yours in the comment sections down below. Peace, much love. Like the video if you like the damn video. If not, give it a thumbs down and subscribe if you haven't already. Peace, much love.